Good morning.
Thank you. Wow, what a palaver that was.
I am feeling far more awake and far more relaxed this morning. I got a great night's sleep, and we got a great show for you. So all I can say to you is,
Good morning.
and let's get this show started, shall we? Yay! Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
How's everyone doing, man? It's great to be awake on a Tuesday morning here in Southern California. It is July the 20th, 2021. July 20th, 2021. We are literally, ladies and gentlemen, we are literally living in the future. When I look back to when I was a little kid and I was into science fiction and horror movies, and I would imagine what it would be like to live in the year 2000 and beyond. All I can say is that it's not living up to my expectations. We don't have fucking moon base alpha or the USS Discovery. I'm not talking about Star Trek. I'm talking about 2001. We don't have none of that shit. We just have like a pandemic or a pandemic. I'm sorry, and governments acting like fucking retards, telling us what to do and how to live our lives, and overt censorship, rampant surveillance. I mean, in a way, it is a science fiction movie, but a dystopian one, if you know what I mean. Well, what are you gonna do? We can bitch and moan about it, but what are we gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. I guess last night I was on Clubhouse again, yapping away, and I've got in with a bunch of people that I can describe. It's difficult to label them. I would say they have strong liberal tendencies, and it's very strange because most of my life, most from like teenager onward, I would have considered myself a liberal, and very liberal, right? But as I've gotten older, I found myself becoming more and more conservative in my views, which is weird when you think about it, right? But then again, changing your mind, all that means is you're thinking. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. Changing your mind is a good thing, right? Obviously, if I'd still had the same thoughts, attitudes, and opinions as I did when I was 18, something's gone wrong somewhere, right? And I'm probably not 100% in the head. As you grow older and you learn more about the world, your opinions change, your thought processes change. There's that old adage, like, man, if I knew back then what I knew now, what a different life I would have. You know what I mean? Your life would be significantly different if you could take all the knowledge and wisdom that you have now and go back to when you're 18, 19, 20 and you're just starting out in the world. Oh my God, can you imagine? You'd take over the fucking place. You wouldn't put up with anything. You wouldn't put up with bullshit. People telling you what to do. Yeah, I need you to get the fuck out of it. You know what I mean? It would be so strange. It'd be amazing. But alas, that gentleman, this is just a childish fantasy that we can indulge in on those long, cold winter nights, snuggled in front of a roaring fire. Well, not here maybe if you guys are in Europe or in the UK, then yeah, you could probably do that. It's a little harder to snuggle up in front of a roaring fire on a cold winter's night here in California. Although there are some people that do have real fires in their homes. I don't know if they use them much though, but I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's before we dive into the chat, and I want to see what everyone's been yapping about. I see some names in there, which I'll shout you all out in a minute. We'll give everyone some
Good morning.
Or
happy day to you.
All that good stuff. But before we do that, I'm sorry, guys. I've got to have a drink of coffee. Is that all right? Oh my gosh. Fuck, it's so hot. Let's see. All right. Let's scroll back through the timeline and see who is here and what was said. By the way, thank you so much for your kind comments yesterday in regard to the Alien VHS episode. I really hope you enjoyed those clips I played yesterday. I was going to do some more last night, digitize some more clips, but it didn't happen. I just didn't get around to it. But maybe this weekend. I know I've been talking, I think on this show, I forget, either on this show or The Howl or on the Mindset podcast. I forget which one I talked about it, but I've capped out on my vacation time at work, so I'm going to have to take some time off. And I'm thinking about either maybe taking 2 days off a week every week for 3 or 4 weeks, or just taking a week off, just taking the Monday through Friday just off, and just relaxing or doing stuff that needs to be done. And if I were to do that, then that would give me ample time to dub stuff from 30-year-old VHS tapes to digital format to preserve them forever. But yeah, I'm gonna get on that because I do have a lot of stuff that needs to be copied over and for posterity, because these things are gonna go away. You know what I mean? Like the stuff I showed yesterday. There's no way that shit would ever be broadcast again, ever. If I hadn't recorded those things, they'd be lost forever. They'd be gone, just gone, vanished into the ether, never to be seen again, ever. So I'm doing you a service. All right, let's see. Okay, who we got? Okay, first one through the door this morning. First one in the house is Mr. Rick Howden, and he says,
happy day to you.
There you go. And he also says, easily the finest thumbnail ever constructed. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. And the thumbnail is humorous, and when I made it, I was laughing, but it was all done out of love and respect, because I genuinely do think a lot of Mr. Ben Emlyn-Jones. I think he's a fine human being, and I legitimately do really, really enjoy talking to him. So even though it is kind of a little, poking fun and stuff, but it's done with love and respect. It's not done from a place of meanness at all. Not even in the ballpark. But it was fun putting it together. Let's see. Luke White says, good morning, Gareth. Should I give you a good morning? I'll give you a good morning, Luke. What the hell?
Good morning.
There we go. Mr. Barry Crump is in the house. Barry Crump says,
good morning.
Good morning, Gareth. I hope you're not feeling as groggy as yesterday, although it should be said that you did quickly get back on form once the show started. Honestly, I don't know how you manage it. Barry! I don't know how I manage it either, to tell you the truth, man. It's good days and bad days, I mean, there are some days I wake up and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And there are other days I wake up and I'm like, argh. It's peaks and valleys, good and bad. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. It's all that stuff. But I thank you for noticing and mentioning it. I appreciate that. Let's see. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Barry Crump says, Gareth, Should your loyal followers refer to themselves as Garethites, Mindsetists, or even the Enlightened Ones? Well, that's a good one. I've always referred to the people that like mindset, the podcast and the streaming, all the bullshit I've done over the past 10 years or so. I've always referred to them as mindsetters. And I think I've said it on this show a few times. I've kind of said, "Good morning, mindsetters," and that's the kind of verbiage that's always stuck with me. So I consider you fine folks out there who tune in every morning to watch me stare into a camera and blab into a microphone as mindsetters. But I'm not married to it, so I could change it if something better comes along. So if you guys have if you're adverse to mindsetters, good morning, mindsetters. It has a ring to it. I like it. But if you can come up with something better, I will gladly switch. Let's see what else we got here. We have Dark Corners UK says,
Good morning. How are you?
"Good morning, Dark Corners. Thank you so much for swinging by." Let's see. Oh, there we go. Firechild UK is in the house. What up, Chris?
Good morning.
You know what, Chris? As you're not feeling too well, I'm going to give you a happy day also.
Happy day to you.
There you go. And hopefully you're feeling better. Hopefully you're on the mend and you're doing well. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here we go. Dark Corners says, Barry Crump, at Barry Crump, "I like the Enlightened Ones, personally." All right, okay. Let's see if it catches on. All right, okay. All right, excellent. Let's see if it catches on. Rick Houghton says, Gareth's mind is, "Terry! Ricky!" Terry and Ricky. Ricky! Terry! I don't know. Simon Burrell says, "Good afternoon, chaps." Simon, it's good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Barry says, he's talking to Luke, he says, "I'm just relaxing after lunch, feeling a bit bloated, so I'm enjoying a packet of mint imperials and an iced coffee while waiting for the show to start." That's great, Barry. Sounds like you're having a very relaxing day. Very nice. Very good. Chris of Firechild UK says something very strange. He says, "Distracted by giant bonzo in a giant rocket ship." Oh, bozo. He's referring to what's his name? What's that fucking imbecile's name? The guy with the bald head who looks like he's half a retard, but he's not. I'm brain farting. What's his name? Jeff Bezos. The Amazon dude, right? He's going up. Is he going up in the spaceship today? Yeah. Imagine if he goes up and a wormhole opens up and sucks him off to who knows where and we never see him again. Wow. That'd be amazing. Can you imagine that? Well, we'll see. Yeah, that's a kind of a nice little sentiment from Barry. He's talking to Dark Corn. He says, "It's good to see you on board for today's cruise into the weird and the wonderful." That's a very nice sentiment. That's very good. Oh, here you go. And Dark Corners, "No work today, so I'll be here for the duration of the show." Excellent. Very good. Very good. Great to see you guys. I'm glad you showed up today. If you didn't get it by the thumbnail, Ben, it will be on the show in about 15-20 minutes or so. We'll get Ben on, and we'll talk about all manner of strange shit. Let's see. Oh my God. This conversation between Barry and Dark Corners is it's delightful, but a bit weird. He says, Dark Corners UK, "That's excellent. Let's hope for a treat. I wonder what treats will be offered up from Gareth's box of delights." Yeah, that does sound a bit pervy. And he says the box sounds a bit like a double entendre. Yeah, it does a little bit. Oh, here we go. 161157 Gore says, let me give you a good morning.
Good morning.
Gareth, great mindset podcast 458 from the Welsh Connection. Thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And the episode we did on Sunday, it was a good one. We went, all the places that we can't go on YouTube, we go there on the Mindset Podcast. So we there's no holds barred on that show. If a topic comes up, we don't skirt around it. We hit it head on and discuss it. And it doesn't matter if this is what I keep telling people about the Mindset Podcast. It doesn't matter if we're right or wrong, right? And there's lots of times that we're right, and there's a shit ton of times that we're wrong. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. The fact that we're discussing these topics and airing them out, right, is a wonderful thing. Okay. We look at things from different angles. We attempt to plant seeds, and see if those seeds wither and die or grow into mighty oaks. That's up to the listeners themselves to do that, or to do the research, or to dig around it and figure it out. The topics that we discuss, I mean, literally some of the most controversial shit you can imagine is touched upon on that show, openly and freely. And we all we all talk about, we all put out opinions and ideas and concepts which may or may not be accurate. Okay, we might say stuff with conviction, but it actually might be nonsense, or it might be complete fact. It's up to the listener to figure it out. But we're looking at things in such twisty little angles, so far off the mainstream, that it literally is food for thought. But if you do have very strong, rigid opinions, and you're married to them, you're like, I believe this is true, and that's all there is to it. If you're one of those type kind of people, then maybe the show is not for you, because it will push your buttons if you think you've solved it. If you think you've nailed it and you got all the answers, the Mindset Podcast is probably not a good listening experience for you, because it'll probably wind you up. But if your thought process is malleable, and if you think of things in different ways, I think you really enjoy it. And 161157 Gore Bars. He says he enjoyed it from the Welsh Collection. I'm assuming he's from Wales. So, all right, boy, how's it going? Let's see. Oh, we got Frank Triggs is in the house.
Good morning.
Good morning, Frank. Nice to see you. There you go. Firechild says Amazon deliveries from space is in the future. Yeah, Amazon. Let's see. Frank says the heat is horrid. Can't win with you guys, huh? It's too cold. Oh, it's freezing. Or, when is it going to stop bloody raining? I've had a tits of it. It's up to my tits with it. I'm sick of it. Oh, it's too hot. I don't like it. It's like you can't win. You can't fucking win. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too raining. And blah, blah, blah. Frank, I know it's uncomfortable. Okay. I know you probably don't have air conditioning. You probably got the windows open and fans going, all that bullshit. But you need to change your mindset. You need to enjoy it, because it will go away. And there's going to be a time in the next few months where you're going to be freezing your fucking ass off, and it's going to be wet and cold and miserable, and you're going to think back to those glorious days of you sitting in your house sweating your balls off. So, enjoy it. Speaking of enjoying, you guys better subscribe to this channel, and you better do it right now.
Do it now. Immediately.
If you have not subscribed, please do so. Join us. It makes sense. Come on, you need to join us. You need to join the greatest YouTube channel the world has ever seen. And I'm not just saying that. Because I've looked around and I've seen many, many, many other YouTube channels, and some are really, really good. But most, let's be honest, not so much. So, so come on over. Come on over. Come on over, baby. Come on over to the dark side. Join the Mindset Central YouTube channel. So come on over.
Do it now. Immediately.
You are gonna do it, right? You are gonna subscribe. Come on, you are?
Come on. Don't bullshit me.
Okay, very good. All right, let's see what else we got on there. Jag or J-Ag says, afternoon taffy. There you go. Some nice racial humor there. First thing in the morning. Very good. Who else we got? Oh, look. Barry's so nice. Look what he's saying. He says, at Frank Triggs, glad to see you're in the chat. It isn't quite the same if you don't put in an appearance. Oh, isn't that nice? Let's see. Luis says, Gareth, why not go to StreamYard for the Howl? It gives 6 users, and Matt knows how to hack, so it's free. Yeah. I know all about that. I could do it. And I could, it's not really a hack. It's more of a workaround than a hack. But I guess technically a hack is a workaround. So it can be done. But I'm not a fan of StreamYard. It's there's like levels of streaming, right? There's the high end, the middle, and the low. And StreamYard is definitely in the middle. Right, I think less is more, Luis. You know, I think less is more. Having like a fucking screen full of faces, because there's a random element to the Howl, right? Where I can bring someone on, and I don't know whether they're gonna be, pure gold or a fucking nightmare. There's no way of knowing. So having 5 people, it kind of limits that. Having a page of like 6 or 10 or 12 people, which StreamYard can do, in order to do that, I would need to know each person, right? And know that, okay, these guys are cool. Then it would be doable to have that many people on the show. But the random, like when I say, hey, shoot me an email if you want to be on the show. Whenever I accept that and I send someone a link, I'm essentially rolling the dice, right? And I see that on Matt's channel too. When Matt posts the link, he's rolling the dice, because he has some people come on and they're fucking great. They're awesome, right? They're articulate. They got a great camera. Everything's awesome. But he gets some people on there, and I'm like, dude, why the fuck are you entertaining that? Hang up on this retard. He's out of his mind. So it's a mixed bag. But I'm not a fan of StreamYard. That's why I don't go there. I could go there very easily, but the software that I'm using right now, it's getting better all the time. Couldn't get no worse. And it's flexible, it's powerful, and it lets me do all kinds of cool stuff. So here it is. And Luis J, is it Luis? Oh, fuck, I always mess. It's the spell. Lewis, or you spell it Luis, but I think you pronounce it Lewis. I think. I could be wrong. Jag says, I'm glad I got the AC fitted last year. Yep, very good. Ben is a naughty preacher. Wow, Frank says he tried sleeping in the bath with the bedding and the pillows last night. The only cool place I could find. Wow, man. That's crazy. Dude, all you need to do is when you go to bed, you sleep on top of the covers, you crack open the window, and you put a fan pointing at you on low. Done. You don't have to get in the bath. Just get a fan and point it at you. Let's see. Simon Burrell says, I was unable to attend yesterday's sermon, and for that I send forth my sincerest apologies. I did, however, watch it later, and I very much enjoyed the retro reports. Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you, Simon. I'm gonna give Simon a good morning for that.
Good morning.
There you go. Daniel Ulak is here, and he says,
Good morning.
time to make coffee. Time to get some coffee. And Jag says, Barry Crump just now better on LOL. That's not very nice. Come on, man. Come on, Jag. Throw me a freaking bone here, Jag. Underhanded backstabbing comments are not going to be tolerated on this show. Barry says, I'm a mindsetter. There you go. I like that. Very good. And Frank is also correct. He said, I thought you called us all mental cases. I do. But the term mental case is a term of affection, Frank. Come on. I think mindsetter is glue is getting in. Or counts as mindsetter is just fine. Let's see. Gareth, ask Ben about Google and YouTube censoring reference to UFOs. I refuse to call them UAPs. Richard Dolan suggested that a discussion of the UFO phenomena is being Oh, interesting. I was unaware of that. I didn't know that YouTube was censoring the term UFO. Yeah, I will. I'll bring that up to Ben. Because I'm not aware of that, but hopefully Ben is. Hopefully Ben is on the ball with that shit and can get things going. Let's see. Hey, Sublime Exploration is here. Hey, G-Man, and All in the Hood. I'm going to give Sublime a good morning.
Good morning.
And you know what? I'm also going to give Sublime a happy day.
Happy day to you.
There you go. Let's see. This conversation is getting dark now. Barry's saying, I wonder if Jeff Bezos burns up on re-entry will I doubt he'll offer us, I guess, on Amazon Prime. But, I was thinking about that yesterday when I was watching the news about Jeff Bezos going into space today. And, part of me was saying, like, wouldn't it be cool if he died and it burned up? But then another part of me was like, that's kind of dark. That's kind of fucked up. You shouldn't wish that on anyone, So I'm kind of torn. If I were to say, well, wouldn't it be, and it actually happened, I'd be like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. All right, we got lots and lots of comments that I'm scrolling through to see. Oh, Jackie Green is is here. I'm gonna give Jackie a good morning, even though she said good afternoon. This is Mindset Mornings, Jackie. Come on, you got to say good morning. So I'm gonna give you a good morning.
Good morning.
Ella, how are you?
How are you?
And a happy day.
Happy day to you.
There you go. Yeah, see, Jackie's got the right idea. She is loving the toasty weather. There you go. Take a page out of Jackie's book, Frank. Enjoy it while it lasts. All right. Let's bring in Legend Man. Let's bring in, you know what, before we bring Ben in, we haven't had a Mark Reboulet yet, and I think we might need to wake people up. So let's go.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and then they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
There you go. Can't beat a bit of Mark to get the blood pumping and get your eyes open and the day to begin. All right, let's bring in Mr. Emlyn-Jones. Let's see. Let's get him in here. We'll get the Ben Emlyn-Jones from the International Church of BEMLYN. And let's get that going here. We'll get him in. Here he comes. Ben, are you there?
I should be, yeah. How are you?
There he goes. There he is.
How you doing?
You know, Ben, we're on a win-win situation today. Number one, you got your camera and your mic working.
I did. I checked it out beforehand. And this is the Church of BEMLYN, is it?
I was going to put the International Church of BEMLYN.
Oh, right. Oh, so I'm a religion now, am I?
You are rapidly becoming a figurehead of a major international global phenomena known as BEMLYN.
Well, people keep telling me I'm a complete and total cult. So now I know I am.
Yeah. How you doing,
How are
man?
you? You all right? All right, mate.
It seems like forever since we've spoken.
It was only Sunday.
I know.
Yeah, but a lot's happened since then.
Yes.
Well, it's very hot here. We've got a heat wave, which is quite rare in this country.
Yeah.
Also, it's we had Freedom Day yesterday.
That's
so-called.
right. Freedom Day. What a wonderfully Orwellian term that is.
It was. It's rather impudent a name to give a day. Actually, now it was originally coined by. I keep wobbling around. I don't know why that is.
Ben, can you move just a tiny bit back, just a little bit back?
How's that?
There you go. Kind of because you can see it, right? Can you just line the camera there?
There we
now
are.
we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking with gas, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we had. It's been called Freedom Day. Originally, it was a nickname, but the government are now using it. Basically, which means in England, not Wales and Scotland, just England.
Yeah.
All the COVID-19 social restrictions are gone now. So there's no limit to the number of people who can meet. You don't have to wear a facial covering.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to socially distance or any of these other things.
Wow. Does that mean, Ben? Does that mean that in England people can finally get out and protest?
Well, that's not stopped them before. But yeah,
I know.
There was actually yesterday there was a really good protest in London because Mark Sexton went and delivered I'll be careful what I say. He went and delivered a protest to Downing Street. It was very good. He's an ex-policeman.
Oh.
He's been actually taking legal action against the government right now because of the lockdown.
That's pretty cool. I much prefer ex-policemen than actual policemen, don't you?
Mostly, yes. I mean, I've got good friends who are ex.
Yeah. Like if someone says I'm an ex-policeman, I'm more likely to like you than if you were to say I'm a policeman.
If they are a policeman and they're serving, then they're bound by certain rules and regulations.
And let's be honest, they're probably a bit mental. Let's be honest, Ben.
Yeah, I mean it's rather like when I was a hospital porter. I feel more comfortable in a way now than I'm an ex-hospital porter because I'm no longer part of the medical industrial complex I was before. So in a way, it's a weight off my conscience not to be involved in that. But but along with this, like there's been they now have the V passport. I wouldn't say the full word. They have the V passports. If you know what a V is,
what is the? No, I get the V part. But
I wouldn't say the full word.
I understand what the V means and the word passport, but how is that being used?
Well, again, the V passport was a word invented by critics of the whole lockdown, and the government has adopted it, like Freedom Day. We invented the word; they've adopted it.
Co-opted it.
You now have to. This was what a few months ago they said they had no plans. They weren't going to bring in V passports. They weren't going to have like a two-tier society where you were entitled to more rights, civil rights and things like that if you'd had the V word than if you hadn't. Then Tony Blair goes on to the news and he says, "Oh no, of all the people you could trust, we have to protect the public. We have to embrace new technology, new methods." Did
you just say Tony Blair?
Yeah.
I thought he's back now. What's going on? I thought he's vanished.
Supposed to. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what on earth is his now role because he's not an MP. He's certainly not Prime Minister anymore. He's cozying up to the European Union. I think he was very opposed to the Brexit situation. He's now saying that he wants to introduce the V word. The V word is never going to be compulsory for people. We must understand that. You're always going to have the option of declining it, but if you do decline it, it's pretty clear that you're not going to be entitled to an awful lot of freedoms that people who accept the V word have. Now, at the moment, they're mentioning nightclubs. they're literally going to, you're going to have to carry some kind of document when you go to a nightclub,
Well,
proving that you've had the V word.
the thing is, though, Ben, I mean, if you're like over 35 and you're going to nightclubs, you're probably mentally ill.
Or you're a
kind
hospital
of be honest, right?
I used to, when I was
if you're in your 20s and you're early 30s and you're going to nightclubs, that's normal. But once you get to around 35-ish, give or take, and you're still going to nightclubs, something's not right.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's mostly younger people who go to them. Although, unless you're a hospital porter, when you people go to them when they're quite old. But the thing about it is, though, what's the problem is that I think Blair actually wants to get more and more people in that age group. You know, the young adults. He wants to get more and more of them V-worded because at the moment they're the lowest demographic, the lowest age demographic that have not had the V word. As you know, my daughter is refusing to have the V word. I hope she'll stick by that. But the good news is the hospitality industry is rebelling. The various trade unions and things like that are absolutely furious about this. They're going to say this is totally unworkable. This means that bouncers essentially are going to have to become like they're going to have access to people's medical records, essentially.
Right. I mean, how is that? I was thinking about that because
legally, that's very, very dodgy.
Like, how are you gonna? Is it gonna be like a card? Is it gonna be an app on your phone? Is it, and how easy it for me to just fire up fucking Microsoft Word and print some shit out and get a scissors and cut it, then laminate it and be like, there you go. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be honest. If the bouncers are gonna be the gatekeepers. Let's be honest, Ben. Let's get real fucking real here. The last time I checked, bouncers are not the smartest people on the planet. Okay, you know what I mean? They're not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Okay, so if these are the ones that are going to be telling you whether or not you can come in, I mean, it pull the wool over those fucking mental cases' eyes. Should not be a huge challenge. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, they tend to look a bit like me, actually. Bouncers. They tend to be big and bald, but they often are not as bright as I am.
There you go.
But no, it is going to be unworkable. I think there's going to be a lot of protest. I mean, I'm going to suggest to my daughter, if she's ever tempted to go along with this, I can say, look, just see if you can get some fake documents. Alternatively, there could be some kind of electronic document, but then that leads to the fact that people are going to have to be on a database. People with the V word are going to have to be on a database. God. There's going to have to be, and there is going to be an underclass of people. I mean, Deke Jackson, the satirical comedian from Scotland, he recommended that he has actually had a good idea. He says people who have not had the V word are the ones who should perhaps carry some kind of mark on their body, maybe a yellow star with the word unV'd on it, so they can attach to their body. Maybe they should, you should have special seats at the back of the bus where they sit, where all the V-worded people who are superior can sit at the front.
It's very strange, dude.
Things like that. We are treading into dangerous territory here where we are eventually going to end up with some kind of segregated society. Blair doesn't seem to care about that.
Then again, though, Ben, the way things are going culturally and have been for the last, 5, 8, maybe 10 years, segregated society seems to be on the right path.
It's
right.
It seems it's something that I think was a pretty horrible idea.
I agree completely. I think it's a ridiculous idea. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
But it's. I mean, people are being segregated. Your race, your gender, your this, your that. I'm this, I'm that. All these little things that push us all apart and keep us, fighting amongst ourselves, so we don't look up and see the real bad guy.
You mean wokist segregation?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another big problem.
Here's something interesting, Ben. I was thinking about this the other day. About diversity and wokeness, right? Diversity focuses on superficial things, right? The color of your skin, your nationality, your culture, your gender, right? So it's all stuff you can see, like physical stuff. That's the diversity everyone's talking about. But what about diversity of thought? What about diversity of ideas and concepts? No, we can't have that. So they want everyone to be diverse in the way they look, but everyone to think the same.
The people who support this kind of segregation are actually very shallow people. They're very shallow, they're very materialistic. They believe that these superficial things which you just mentioned, which are superficial actually, they don't say an awful lot about a person's character. They believe that these things say everything about a person's character. They believe that these are the only things that really matter politically in the world. Martin Luther King, ironically, said many years ago, he said that I have a dream that a day will come when my 4 children will be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin.
Right.
Well, the modern wokeists have actually completely turned that on its head. In fact, they've cancelled King, not just for that reason, but for several others. But they say no, a man should be judged by the color of his skin. Absolutely, that's the only thing that matters. And they'll say, so for example, if you're white, you benefit from white supremacy, regardless of it doesn't matter about what your thought is, what about your ideas, this diversity of thought which you talk about. You still benefit from white supremacy, according to them. If you are black, you are oppressed. If you're a woman, you're oppressed. If you are anything other than what they call heteronormative in terms of your sexuality, you are oppressed, you're a victim. That unfortunately is their ideas. It's exactly the same it's the same rationale that was used for segregation in the beginning in places like South Africa with apartheid. Well, with apartheid it was slightly different. They had actually decided they wanted to split the country up into different homelands, but the homelands for the black people were very small and they were little ghettos and things. But yeah, certainly under the Jim Crow laws, it was essentially the same thing. So left meets right in that sort of way.
It's very, very disturbing, dude. I mean, not only is the whole woke thing destroying our culture and our way of life, it's also really fucking with entertainment, and I'm not happy about that. A lot of my favorite shows have been completely destroyed because of this nonsense. Let me. I'm scrolling back through the comments here because before you came on, regular viewer and good friend of the show, Barry Crump, wanted me to ask you a question, and I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, okay, I found it. I'll put it up on screen so you can take a look. He says, Gareth, ask Ben about Google and YouTube censoring references to UFOs. I refuse to call them UAPs. Richard Dolan suggested that the discussion of the UFO phenomena is being gate-kept. Are you familiar with this, Ben? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Barry. First of all, the term UAP is a new one. Again, it's part of this new ufology, and I say UFO still, although sometimes I'll use the word UAP, but that's simply because I've been in this a lot longer than most people who are in the new ufology. But as for censorship, I can't say specifically about UFOs. I do know that. That's Google/YouTube have a rule where they can censor borderline content. This is what they call borderline content. And this includes material which they say runs contrary to the scientific consensus. That's their terminology. That's what they use. They don't give the example of UFOs. However, there is a scientific consensus on UFOs, which hopefully is now changing slightly.
Right.
It has shifted, and I think it's going to shift a lot more. Sam Harris, for example, has sort of come over to the other side. There's a couple of others that are wavering. But at the moment, you can actually... I haven't actually seen Dolan's pronouncements on this, but what happened to him, he may have been shadow banned like I have, because I haven't actually lost any videos or had any direct censorship of my material for talking about UFOs. However, I have noticed that I sometime in late 2018, my profile on YouTube dropped suddenly.
Yeah.
The number of people who are watching my videos dropped to about a third of what it used to be, and it's stayed at that level now. It's still at that level now, which indicates that I have been shadow banned. My channel has been specifically marked.
So what they're doing is that they, I mean, obviously you still have a YouTube channel, you can still publish all that good stuff, and you can still share your videos with people, but your content does not come up in search results. So that
Not as often,
when
no.
somebody's searching for, I don't know, UFOs or, all the stuff that you talk about, when it lists all those videos, your videos is not going to be in that list. Whereas before it might have shown up, but not anymore.
I've tried it. I've done a little experiment. Actually, opened up I got a fresh browser, different browser without any cookies or any sort of history on it. Firstly, I couldn't find my channel. I had to put in the entire name of my channel. Ben. It used to be Ben. I used to put in Ben and there used to be me, and there's this guy called Ben the Looney. There's Ben the J. Porter and Ben the Looney.
Isn't that the same channel, Ben?
I'm sure many people think so, but what happened was now I put in Ben. I get Ben the Looney still, but I actually, when I did this experiment, I have to put in the entire name of the channel and click search, and only then do I find my channel.
Yeah.
And also, if I write, say for example, UFO disclosure. Now I have published over 100 videos with the term UFO disclosure in the title. And I've never managed to locate one of my videos. So since late 2018, I've never managed to locate any of those videos on YouTube search. All I get, firstly, the entire first 3 or 4 pages, it's all mainstream stuff. It's MSNBC, it's BBC, it's CNN. It's all mainstream stuff to begin with. Once you get down onto page 2, you do get things like Tucker Carlson, things like that on page 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's quite popular on Fox, and he also has a show on Fox, and he's one of the mainstream people who's willing to discuss UFOs. You can scroll down a bit further. GB News also now is quite open to the idea of UFOs.
That's true. Tucker Carlson is very vocal about UFOs, which is and he's like the main one that talks about UFOs openly. And most other shows either steer clear of it, or when they do mention it, they do it in kind of a snickering, silly way.
Well, the snickering and silliness seems to have gone lately.
It's been toned down significantly, for sure.
Since 2017, there has been really a seismic shift in the way this subject is presented, the UFO/UAP subject. There's an interesting story behind what Barry said about the two terms. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. That term was actually invented by the government. It was used in Britain and in the United States, because the term UFO has too much cultural baggage. It's associated with nutcases like us.
Whoa.
So I speak for myself, but speak for yourself.
Well, they've done this before, though, Ben, right? Because in the 40s and 50s, it was called a flying saucer.
In 1952,
and then they changed it to UFO to kind of move it. Well, no, there's too much cultural baggage with the term flying saucer, so let's move to UFO. And now they're doing the same thing again, right?
Exactly. They actually changed to UFO in 1952 at the Robertson panel because they didn't, for the very, very same reason. And of course, UFO was the official scientific non-loony term, but then we got hold of it, and that was it. And then, of course, I actually think they're going to have to come up with something new because people like us have already culturally appropriated UAP. So I think they're going to they may come up with something new now. I don't know.
But isn't it strange though, Ben? That I mean, I know that Orwell in his classic 1984 talks about this in great detail. Is the power of words and how words can not only define culture, but it can define your perception of reality. If you have a very limited vocabulary, if I can't even say the word, vocabulary, if you have a limited vocabulary, your view of reality and how it functions is limited, right? So by changing words, by changing a word, you change a concept. By changing a concept, you alter the structure of reality. And a lot of times that's what these things are being, like with wokeism and UAP and all these things, political correctness, what you can and can't say. They're defining how we can perceive reality from an external force.
Yes, definitely. This, in fact, in the book, Orwell's book, they have the Newspeak dictionary because the official language of Oceania, the Big Brother state, is Newspeak. Newspeak is exactly what you described. Is you take a natural language and you pare it down as much as possible, reduce the number of words as much as possible, Do away with synonyms, so you just have one. And of course, then you have like you have different words. You have concepts such as doublethink, which means the ability to believe in two contradictory concepts at the same time, which shouldn't be possible if you're a logical person. But then, of course, they don't like logic. See, they dispose of logic. The whole point is that there should be no science and no logic. So, a lot of people believe in doublethink, and there's black white, which is the same thing. Believing black is black, white is white. There's duck speak, which is basically nonsense words spoken by the mainstream media, and etc. etc. And the purpose is to control the way people think and feel and therefore behave by dictating the kind of language they can use. You control people's language. It's actually a backdoor to their mentality.
Exactly.
And this is what Orwell was warning us about. Orwell was in the Fabian Society, you see, which is behind a lot of this political correctness and this wokeism. The Fabian Society, obviously, I think he was a rebel. He wanted to break away. That he chose the spring of 1984 to set his futuristic story. He wrote the book in 1948. Yeah,
he just flipped
and
the
some
numbers.
People he just swapped the last two numbers around. But I think no, he chose 1984 because he wanted to make it on the centenary of April 1884. Exactly 100 years after the foundation of the Fabian Society.
Ah, interesting. I was unaware of that.
That's why I think he chose that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very disturbing, dude. But it's completely true that if you control language, you control the perception of reality, right? And that's what's by structuring what people can and can't say. You're also structuring what people can and can't think.
Yeah, Winston's job actually was to alter perception. You know, one of the things he did at the Ministry of Truth was to rewrite history, to create fake history, and to dispose of other history. And this could actually be done very easily. For example, names could be removed from books, and books could be removed from libraries. Even statues could be torn down and replaced.
Well,
now,
that sounds a bit familiar.
It does indeed, because that's kind of what's happening here now, isn't it? We actually are losing statues. And it's there's all kinds of things like that happening. There's the renaming of streets. This was actually mentioned in 1984. The moving of statues, the renaming of streets. Even classic places like Penny Lane in Liverpool, which is a very traditional street, which is mentioned. There's a song by the Beatles about that street.
Yeah.
There's a move to change the name of that street.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I wish I was.
They're going to change Penny Lane?
Well, they will if someone doesn't stand up to them. I mean, you've got to realise is you can't.
What are they going to change it
with
to?
These people. I don't know. Some kind of George Floyd Street or something like that. I don't know.
Oh my god, dude!
I don't know I don't know why they want to do it.
That fucking upsets me. That really upsets me.
It upsets a lot of people, and this is very, very important that people resist this because the wokeists have no internal restraint at all. There are no brakes on their train. They only know how to go forward and go forward as much as possible, as quickly as possible. They only stop when people resist them. So if people think, well, let's just appease them a little bit. Let's just take that statue down. It's the Statue of Rhodes in Oxford. Just take that statue down, and then they'll shut up and they'll go away. But they won't. They'll just keep marching. They'll just keep marching and marching, demanding more and more and more until people stand up to them. The statue of Cecil Rhodes, Oriel College I think we mentioned this previously. Oriel College here in Oxford have a statue of Cecil Rhodes, who was actually a patron of the college, out on its facade. There's a huge campaign to have that statue removed because Cecil Rhodes is some evil white male, etc. person. The Oriel have said they're not going to do it. Now, do they have the guts to stick by their guns? I hope they do.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. I mean, obviously the wokeists are going to keep protesting, and they just have to keep saying no to them because nothing else you give them will stop them. You have to just say no. You have to resist them.
Yeah, you have to resist. I want to go back to Barry's original comment. And Barry, if you could maybe elaborate in the chat what you meant by YouTube censoring content in regard to UFOs or UAPs. Are you familiar with it? I am completely unfamiliar with this. Me either. So yeah. So Barry, if you could just give us, if at all possible, give us like a brief kind of overview or synopsis of what your kind of thought process is with this banning, because unfortunately Ben and I are unfamiliar with this, if it is in fact happening. Rick Howden in the chat says Penny Lane was changed to Poundland years ago. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very
There's
good.
probably a Poundland on Penny Lane, which is full of people who just earn probably less than £1 an hour, or they're on job seekers allowance or something horrible like that. I never go to that shop. I can't bear the idea that they're just taking unemployed people and they're turning them into civic slaves, and making them work for no money. Right. That's absurd. That's an obscenity. That is. That's absolutely terrible.
So, Ben, has anything been happening on the UFO front? Anything? Because I know you have your finger on the pulse of ufology. Anything bubbling over?
Well, there's always a few things going on at the moment. Now, there's apparently going to be it's been released. Was it John Greenwald of the Black Vault has discovered that he's been putting in Freedom of Information Act requests about the UAPTF report about what's actually in it, because the only thing that's been published is a 9-page summary, which, as we've talked about before, is very unsatisfactory.
Right.
If that's all they can produce, then what's the bloody UAPTF for?
Well,
why have it? Why pay these people, these senators and other people, to run it? Because it's a waste of money. But there is what's called the classified annex, and Greenwald has worked out how. Let me just find. He worked out how he's been told exactly how long the it is.
But
exactly how long is?
Didn't they say in the first report though this was a preliminary report?
Yes.
And they alluded to the fact that there would be other reports coming out at future dates. Is that correct?
They did say that. In fact, they are actually obliged under their charter to produce a public report at least every 6 months. Now, Steve Bassett says something very interesting. He says something very interesting indeed. He said that the Congress has been issued with some classified documents. So the classified annex of the UAPTF report has been sent to them. There's various committees, very, very similar to the Senate, actually. They have an intelligence committee, they have an armed services committee and things like that. Now, Steve reckons it's only a matter of time before someone leaks this, because he mentioned other occasions where once things are shared with the legislative branch, they tend not to, it's not very secure. So we've already had a leak from the Senate already. So a senator did leak the contents of the preliminary report. Obviously, if someone leaks a classified document rather than just a preview of a public document, it's a far more serious offence. However, I do think that if that happens, possibly it may be able to be done without, quietly, without identifying the person who does it, which has happened before. All kinds of secrets leak out of Congress,
Right.
Or it's possible that people will be very sympathetic to the whistleblower in question, and possibly they'll get a very mitigated trial, which will result in a light sentence or even acquittal, which will set a very interesting common law precedent for other whistleblowers, won't it? Because
since Obama's presidency, whistleblowers have not been treated well at all. As things like Snowden and Julian Assange and all these people that are basically letting people know what's going on are being what's happening to Julian Assange is horrific. It's a complete fucking travesty. It upsets me to think about it. Isn't it crazy that fucking piece of garbage Bill Cosby is free for fucking raping dozens and dozens and dozens of women, and Julian Assange, who didn't do it, he didn't do anything. He didn't fucking blow anyone up or kill anyone. He just let people know that the U.S. government did this, and this guy is probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah, and the way it's based on his state of health. I mean, if he doesn't get out soon, his life won't be very long.
It's terrible.
I don't understand why Trump didn't pardon him.
It's very strange.
I think it's something he could have done before he left office. if he returns, I just hope he will. I just hope he will. I just don't understand why not. If there's a reason why not, and there may be a reason why not, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But
Barry did respond to, and he's gonna try and enlighten us a little bit in regard to what Richard Dolan said. I'll pull it up on the screen here. Barry Crump says, according to Dolan, the mainstream social media platforms are controlling what results are displayed when people search for UFO, UAP, and ETs. The mainstream stuff from mainstream media is given prominent rankings.
That is an absolutely classic symptom of shadow banning. That indicates 100% that there is algorithmic fiddling going on to make sure that certain outlets are prioritized above others.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's what's going on, I think, Gareth.
No, I agree, and that kind of that's not just with UFOs. That's with pretty much anything, right? The mainstream always goes to the top, and everything else just either floats to the bottom or doesn't appear at all.
Yeah, it makes it far more. It's still available, but it's far more difficult to find it.
You gotta know where to go and have links.
Search more and more.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's the same way. Unless you have a very benign, vapid YouTube channel. If you have something like if you look at there are all these makeup channels and shit, and all these fools ranting about, let's be honest, nonsense.
Yeah.
They are unscathed. Okay.
Yeah.
They rise to the top, and they there's no banning. They're awesome. Nobody says shit. Nobody says a fucking word to these buffoons.
And unfortunately, they're some of the most popular channels on YouTube.
Hugely popular.
Yes.
Yeah. But
some of them are really
these
inane nonsense they talk. They're complete, these guys are millionaires.
It's complete vapid shit. But yeah, I mean these over 1 million subscribers. Some people on their they get millions of views on their channel because it's harmless, because it's non-offensive. There's no real opinions. There's no real thought. It's just very surface, very trite, very nonsensical. All that stuff is fine. YouTube loves that shit. They will eat that shit up. They love it. But anyone who has a thought in their head or an opinion or an idea, and they vocalize it, you're on the path to being shadow banned, or in some cases, really banned.
Yeah. The number of bannings that are going on are incredible. I mean, I've not had a strike on my channel, touch wood, but I've lost several videos. I wonder if it is my. There's one that was banned and for hate speech, which I think there was no hate speech in it. There was another one that was banned for bullying and harassment. That's a recent one. And again, I challenged these rulings every time they came about. I say rulings. They just informed me they'd remove them. They didn't tell me why, what was wrong with them. They didn't say exactly what I'd done wrong. They just said, this contains this material, we're removing it. If you want to appeal, click here. Then a couple of days later, they wrote back to me and said, we've looked at your appeal and we've decided we're not going to give it to you. In the case of one of the videos, I never even got a reply to my appeal. And this was a video that I thought was completely and utterly harmless. It was a political commentary video. There's no bullying and harassment on it. None at all.
Well, it's not like when you get a strike or some bullshit, it's not like there's some guy sitting there in front of a computer watching your video and saying, yep, we're banning it. This is all done via software, right? It's just the algorithm. The algorithm scans through your video, and if there's certain words or phrases or things that jump out that the algorithm will catch, then it goes to the next step where you're either shadow banned or you get a strike or banned. Who knows? Whatever. But people are not doing this, and they because there's too many videos for you'd have to have 1 million people working 24 hours a day scanning videos, and that still wouldn't be enough considering the amount of videos on YouTube. So it's all done via software automatically in the background. And when it's done by software, sometimes it gets it right, but most of the time it gets it wrong.
Yeah. And the sensible thing to do for YouTube, if I was running it, which of course I'm not, is simply sign Section 230. declare yourself a platform, which means the user accepts full legal responsibility for everything they post, and the platform is exempt. It has immunity from prosecution. Now, if they did that, they could just stop worrying about everything like this. The fact that they are not doing that indicates they're using this platform publisher dichotomy, and they're exploiting it. They're magnifying it because they want to be able to suppress certain opinions on the platform.
Yeah.
They want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what's disturbing. This is why we do have people who are removed simply for certain opinions, for expressing certain opinions. You have words like misinformation and hate speech and things like that, which are really don't say much about the material that's been posted. I mean, I know that misinformation has been people who have been banned from all kinds of social media platforms for misinformation are just simply expressing opinions and about certain things. Yes, they're unfashionable opinions. They are, for example, what's known as conspiracy theories about certain subjects.
Yeah.
But that to me shouldn't justify being removed from a platform. If you're removing people from a platform for expressing an opinion you don't agree with, and that's all it is. It's just people you don't agree with. Well, firstly, I think we discussed this before. Conspiracy theories are sometimes proven true.
Correct.
And indeed, I could name you dozens that have. Mm-hmm. John Lennon being spied on, the Tuskegee experiments, even like the Woodward and Bernstein and their expose of President Nixon. You know, these things were conspiracy theories, and then they were found to be true. Now they're just part of history.
Exactly.
And we have the incident with the again, I've got to be careful what I say, but the U.S. Chief Medical Officer Anthony Fauci, he has been revealed to be an extremely dishonest individual.
Right. You want to be careful what you say here, Ben. I don't want to.
I will.
I mean, I was saying earlier about like that's the beauty of when we do the Mindset podcast. We don't have to tiptoe around these subjects.
Yeah.
We can say what we want to say and that's all there is to it.
Sure.
But on a show like this, we have to be careful what we because I don't want strikes or none of that bullshit foisted
I know.
on my
It's the
channel.
problem, isn't it? You would then be accused of misinformation. Even though what you said is now a lot of it. So, or I'll say this: like a lot of what was said about that man is now accepted in the mainstream, and it's really proven true. And the evidence is all there. The mainstream news are talking about it. Yeah, a year ago, this was called a conspiracy theory, and you could actually have post removed,
be
get
banned.
community strikes, or even be banned from a
sure.
social media platform for saying this. But to quote Sargon of Akkad, the idea has been repersoned. As opposed to it was unpersoned, now it's repersoned.
Elaborate on repersoning and unpersoning.
Well, what Orwell said in the book, in Orwell there were groups of individuals called unpeople, which are similar to what we call outlaws in the medieval period, which is where you essentially were separated. The big brother state, which really provided all the needs of the people. Would then no longer provide your needs. You were removed from the list of people who were provided. In other words, your identity was deleted. You were therefore you had no official existence within the database. You were physically present. You had a life. You were there, but you couldn't do anything. You were incapable of doing absolutely. You couldn't interact with society in any way. You couldn't get a job.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy things from a shop. There was no cash, but you weren't allowed a bank account, so you couldn't pay with card. Things like that. Now, these was called unperson. Now, Sargon is he's essentially using that idea. He's essentially saying there's something similar with certain pieces of information. Certain pieces of information are effectively removed from the intellectual landscape. They are demolished and they're taken off. And there are many, many examples of that, which we talk about regularly in this program on the Mindset podcast to do with various conspiracy theories. Now, in this case, this was taken off the intellectual landscape a year ago. Everything to do with Fauci was taken off, which we were warning people about. Now it has been replaced. It has been repersoned.
Yeah, for the see, I mean, I do want to talk about this stuff, Ben. But by the same token,
you can't into too much detail, can we?
I don't want to talk about it, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe these are good subject. Maybe we should hit the pause button and then continue on the podcast.
Yeah, certainly.
Because on the podcast, we can really go there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And there's no censorship or people saying that you. So let's change the subject. Let's
Okay.
let's talk about something a little.
Well, I think I've said all I wanted to say about it.
Yeah. But for people who are watching, if you want like our real views and understand what we think is really going on or not, whatever the case may be, check out the Mindset podcast. You can do that on the link is right below mindsetcentral.com. Go ahead and shoot over there, and you can listen to myself and Ben dig into this subject thoroughly, like really get into it, so to speak. Oh, here's something I wanted to ask you, Ben. I think you went back and you saw the video of the candle ghost. What did you think?
Well, I just saw the little clip, which was on the. It was only a short clip, unfortunately, but it did look very interesting. The candle did seem to move very specific ways.
Mm-hmm.
The candle flame.
Yeah.
So I did that. But is there a longer version of that clip?
No, unfortunately, that was the only video that she sent over to me. But
You're still investigating. That's the main thing.
You see the candle's going like this, and then they ask a question, and it goes. Choop.
Yeah.
And then they ask another question, and it goes, and as if on command, which is it's very strange to watch.
Very, yeah. I mean, it's an open investigation you're doing anyway, so that's good. I mean, hopefully you'll find more.
Yeah, we'll see. I also find it interesting. I brought this up when I was speaking to them recently, is how the human mind makes stuff up, right? Because, and I said this to them, I said, look, even if the phenomena that you're presenting is real, right? Let's say the phenomena is real. You can talk to this candle and it moves when you ask certain words. It's real, right? So the phenomena is real. But then you invent this big backstory. They have a name for the ghost. They say, well, this area of the room, this is the portal where the ghost comes through. And this is, and they this whole elaborate story, right? That their minds create. And they're not doing this out of, like, I'm going to make up a bunch of shit. They're doing it because they're filling in the gaps of what, and I see this a lot in paranormal circles where phenomena is real, right? The event is real. But because we don't understand what causes the event or why the event is happening, we then invent this backstory to explain it. Have you noticed that?
You end up with a kind of it's kind of like these things do end up. The imagination can sometimes influence your perception of a particular phenomenon. That's understandable. I think but it is important. Like as a serious investigator, you have to keep people's feet on the ground in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand it. This is not done out of malice or I'm going to invent that. No, this is all. It's a natural human thing to do, right? And I think it's because we're smart and we have big brains as mammals. We try to fill in the pieces, right? We try to fill in the empty spots. We create these things. We invent these scenarios to kind of fill in the slots to explain the bigger picture. I think it's a very human thing to do, but it's usually, well, I would say 9 times out of 10, the story that's created is not accurate, but it's a normal thing to do,
Yes, I think that is indeed, and I mean the people. Obviously, the people involved in this, they may be, because they have to live with this every day. It's perhaps understandable that they feel that way, but I suppose you've got to, as the if they want you to investigate this properly, obviously, you have to keep a distance from that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also what I found, and I've touched on this on this show and on Mindset many times, is that let me lay it out as best I can. So the phenomena happens, right? Strange phenomena. It's real. But you can't explain it. You don't know why the phenomena is happening. So you invent this backstory. Oh, well, that's the ghost of Aunt Elsie. She's come back. And you invent this whole story, right? And over time, you become married to that story. In other words, in your mind, it's not a story that you invented. It's not only part of the phenomena, it is the phenomena. And once you start investigating it and chipping away at this thing they invented in their mind, they don't like that.
Some of the, yeah, I mean, I think some do get like a bit hostile. I've actually seen this happen among people. Actually, some people have spirit guides, for example, and give them a name, and sometimes this is because that's the name the spirit volunteers. But sometimes it is like they just call them that. They just call them this name, Aunt Elsie, like you said. Mm-hmm. They may even think they can identify their spirit guide as a relative who's passed away, or an angel of a particular kind, or something like that. And they may not have any real reason to do so, other than that's what they're assuming or they're thinking. They've surmised it by intuition, and it's sometimes you got to be if you are seriously investigating something, you got to be a bit of a spoil sport, Gareth, haven't you?
Yeah, and
you got to be a bit of a party pooper and say,
do.
Look, are you sure you've identified this spirit correctly? It may not be what you think it is. I'm not saying it's not real, but it may be something it may be a very different kind of animal to what you have.
Exactly.
The identity you've pasted onto it.
Right.
And they don't like that.
No, they don't want to. No. They
I don't know how you avoid that, actually.
They fall in love. They fall in love with their explanation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, and I said this to them. I said, look, I'm not doubting or knocking the phenomena, right? Let's just say, for all argument's sake, that the phenomena is very real, right? What I'm chipping away at is the backstory that you've invented.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's it.
They don't like it.
It's you got to be able to let people down gently, I think, and I think you've got to be quite good at handling people in that situation. Some people are better at that than others, both on our side and on the skeptic side.
Yeah.
So, for example, there are people who do paranormal research who really don't have the patience to deal with that, and sometimes alienate the people they're working with. Obviously, a lot of skeptics are like that.
Uh-huh.
It's not least because they don't just deny the story being told to them, as you described. They will also deny the existence of the phenomena they're reporting.
Yeah.
Others, like you say, you don't deny the existence of the phenomenon, but you say to them, look, you need to keep a level head over what you're dealing with here. It may not be what you think. I know that John Phillips has a spirit guide. And he gives it a name. He calls it Becky. He believes that's the spirit's name. And sometimes the spirit will introduce themselves and tell you what their name is. And I think this is the case with Don. Becky has actually told Don that's her name.
But you're still on a slippery slope, though, Ben, because
unfortunately,
the spirit guide might be all in your head.
Well, in Don's case, I don't think it is. I mean,
what makes you think that? What makes you think that when he's there and he says, "Well, Ben, oh, hang on, what was that, Becky? What?"
I can come to that in a minute.
Becky just told me. I mean, okay, it could be happening, and I'm open to that fact that there legitimately could be some kind of entity speaking to him, right? But it also could be that he's making it up, either intentionally or unintentionally. Or he's a bit mental. Well, I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Can I come to that in a moment? I just want to say what I want to complete the point I was making before.
Yeah, go ahead.
When Don started talking about Becky, he received quite a lot of criticism from other researchers who said to him, Don, this spirit may not be what you think it is. This spirit may be lying to you, may be deceiving you, and it also may be it is. In a sense, your own relationship with it is influencing its identity. It's becoming a kind of tulpa for you. It's like a manifestation.
Right.
not that it doesn't exist, but that it's essentially become kind of like it's become almost, it's modeling itself on Don's own perceptions. I can't remember how the debate went, but anyway, to answer your other question, you were saying that Don could be making it up, or yeah,
not to be too negative.
No, but remind me what you said.
So somebody can make it. It can be nonsense, right? It can totally be fabricated, but it's done in a way where they believe it to be true. You know what I mean? Like when he's saying, "Oh yeah, Becky's telling me," it's not that he's intentionally being deceptive or trying to deceive people. He's being honest, but he's still fantasy prone, making stuff up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. It's just I've several people have supervised Don and observed him, including myself. I did on 2 occasions. Steve Mera has done for an entire project, which they did, which lasted, the Phenomena project, which lasted a number of months. There's been other examples too. He's now working with a local group, not far from you actually, in Santa Cruz.
Oh, okay.
He's now working with them.
That is kind of far, but go ahead.
Is it all right? It's just California. I assume that's down the road from you.
It's closer to me than it is to you, Ben. That's true.
It's just California. So I thought, that's just around the corner from Gareth, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But California's a big place. I know.
It is a big place.
But he's working with the team from Santa Cruz now, and he's done some like very, very interesting, very carefully controlled experiments, usually involving EVP. And he's done several other. He's done several other divination experiments too, involving. He's done like having a neutrally ballasted balloon, for example, to see if it can be moved by spirit and things like this. And he has achieved good results. This is the kind of thing the SBR would do. He's actually he has had a lot of criticism from various people, but his methodology, I think, is good. And for that reason, I take him seriously.
Yeah.
When he talks about his spirit guides and the other spirits he has contact with, including local spirits in various places like this. I told you about the famous hotel he went to. There's a famous hotel near Santa Cruz, which used to be popular with the rich and famous. And he did it's now derelict, but it's just recently been bought up. But it's full of ghosts. And it's very haunted. And Don's been doing some research projects there. Nice. So I think he's a good researcher. I think his methodology is sound. He's willing to publicize what he does, and
yeah, I mean, I don't want to be negative, right? Because Ben, you know me. I'm very much into the paranormal. I know paranormal phenomena 100% exists, right? It's not like it's all woo-woo mental case lunatics, although there are a lot of woo-woo mental case lunatics that are attracted to the subject. I know 100% that the phenomena is real, okay? The thing that I'm on the fence about or questioning is everything else, right? So, you know what I mean? Like I was saying with the candle thing, right? The phenomena might be real, but all the other stuff, all the baggage that's invented by people to try and explain it, that's the stuff that I'm kind of like, well, maybe. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, this is fair. That's fair enough, Gareth. I understand why you need to be cautious and you need to not be too credulous. I'm interested in the serious psychical research, that is done by people like Harry Price, and it had its heyday, I think, over 100 years ago now, but it still goes on today. Steve Mera, I mentioned before. I'm a big fan of him. He's written a very, very good book. Cool. I think it's called Paranormal Investigator, actually, and he is on the serious side of this. He did say to Don when he first signed up to supervise Don. He said, "I'm gonna, if I will call Bull S if I think you're talking Bull S."
Mm-hmm. You can say bullshit, man. It's okay.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, but of course, YouTube haven't quite censored.
I've said far worse on this channel. So
I know, yeah.
It's okay.
But Don did that. But Don said, "Okay." He said, "I will put myself forward, and I will challenge you and challenge myself in that respect." And Steve, at the end of it all, Steve actually wrote a really good book about the the Phenomena Project, where he went to there's a haunted house actually, which was in the United States. I think it was up near Seattle somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. I can't remember what it's called. I know the guy who owned it. What was his name? But he was very interesting talking to him. I even exchanged messages with him on Facebook once. Don wrote a book, and there's like a documentary. Steve wrote a very interesting book. I think it was called the Fire Spirit or something like that. But Don did a very good documentary. Don's a good filmmaker as well. He actually produces a lot of his own material, and he's a good filmmaker.
I would, speaking of like psychics and all this phenomena, as far as like spirit, excuse me, spirit mediums and psychics and all that stuff, I'm about 98 to 99% sure that some of them are legit. And they are tapping into something and getting information from somewhere that's not readily available, right? I think they're real. But by the same token, Ben, I think that the vast majority of spiritual mediums and psychics are just making shit up. Right? So I think a small minority are legit, and the vast majority are bullshit artists. Now, when I say bullshit artists, I don't. I guess a sizable percentage of them are intentionally lying, but most are not. Most just believe their own nonsense, and even though they are making it up, they've kind of convinced themselves it's real. But I would love, and if there's any watching out there, please shoot me an email at mindsetcentral@gmail.com. I would love to meet a spiritualist or a psychic who could give me a reading and tell me just one thing, just one thing that only I know. Now, and if they were to do that, I'd be on this show saying something very different.
I do prefer the serious psychical research. I prefer that more than the spiritualism and things like that. But I don't object to spiritualism as a thing.
No,
I
neither do
get
I.
involved in it sometimes.
I don't object to it either, Ben. I mean, I know what I just said might be misconstrued as being, he's a non-believer, he's being negative, and I'm not. I find the whole thing completely fascinating, but I'm very cautious in my thought process.
Yeah, it's fair enough, mate. That's absolutely understandable, and I'm the same. I am very. I try to be cautious in that respect, and with mediums and psychics and things like that, it's something I entertain without necessarily accepting.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, so excuse me. Some of them really do provide good evidence.
Yeah.
It varies. Some are better than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some provide very, very good evidence.
Yeah.
And they work closely with the serious psychical researchers because they are so good at what they do. And so I know several people who are mediums. I haven't been to
how about
for ages.
do you know several people who are mediums? Do you know several people who are large or maybe extra large?
Oh yeah, myself.
Ben, we are rapidly approaching the end of our time together. I got to go to work today.
Oh yeah.
I got to wrap this up and then jump in the car and drive to the office. But always a pleasure, Ben. Thank you so much for coming on. Great to talk to you as always. How can people join the International Church of BEMLYN?
Well, there's no baptism or any formal kind of initiation. All you have to do is put Panwo into Google. They won't stop you. Finding that. I'll tell you. HPANWO. That stands for Hospital Porters Against the New World Order, and you'll find my array of churches and other institutions, which you hopefully will find some interesting documents, some interesting scripture, which you can peruse. We
gotta get some T-shirts made, Ben, that says the International Church of BEMLYN and your face on the top. And I would proudly wear that shirt. I think
I laughed my head off.
You liked it?
I saw the thumbnail. I thought
there you go. Hey,
you're gonna have to come up every time I'm on the show. You're gonna have to come up with another original one.
I'm gonna have to come up with
a new one.
I absolutely will, dude. I will stretch my creativity to the limits to come up
Good on you.
with a humorous Ben photo. But actually, dude, you look pretty good as a vicar.
Well, it sort of suits me a bit, doesn't it?
It does, man. I mean, for Halloween, now you know what you can go as.
Yeah, especially if there's lots of tarts around. We
Yeah.
have stickers and tarts party.
Yeah, the Reverend Emlyn-Jones of the International Church of BEMLYN.
By the way, if anyone's watching, if anyone tunes into the Kev Baker show tonight, 10 p.m., I'm on there.
There you go.
10 p.m. UK time.
All right, check it out, yo.
Yeah.
All right, then, Ben, I'm going to have to say goodbye. Once again, always a pleasure, my friend. I will talk to you on Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. But until then, have a great week, man. I'll talk to you soon.
You too, mate.
Take it easy. Bye-bye. And there you go. Ben shoots off into the ether, as I'm going to have to do in a few moments. But let's get real here for a minute. Whoa, hey, I got to learn how to hit these buttons. You got to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, man. Come on, you got to do it.
Do it now. Immediately.
Subscribe to the channel. Join us. If you've enjoyed today's show, and hopefully you have, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. Let people know about Mindset Mornings every day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be sitting here, staring into a camera, yapping into a microphone, talking about all manner of wacky, crazy, and true things. So tune in every day if you can. We're up to 26 likes. Let's see if we can get to 30. It's super easy to give me a like. It's the easiest thing in the world. You just got to go like this. Click. Super easy. So let's get up to 30. Come on, guys. You can do it. You can do it.
Do it now. Immediately.
Exactly. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Come on.
Come on. Don't bullshit me.
All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to head out and get my day started. But I will be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow we have a very special show lined up. Tomorrow we're going to stick on the topic of UFOs, but we're no doubt going to delve into the highly controversial topic of the alien autopsy. Remember that movie? Remember that show from Remember that clip from the 1994, 1995 took the world by storm, the alien autopsy footage? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be joined by an expert on the subject. Mr. Colin Wolford will be on with me tomorrow, so it should be a good show. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow, and you'll hear myself and Colin yap about all manner of crazy, wacky bullshit in regard to UFOs and the alien autopsy. So come on, give me those likes. Let's get up to 30. Come on, guys. It'll take you half a second to click the button. Come on. All right. I'm going to get out of here. If it's early morning where you are, have a great day. It's only Tuesday, but it's going to be Wednesday soon. The weekend is fast approaching. Stay on target. Red 5 standing by. We're going to get there. Have a great day if you're just starting your day. If it's late afternoon, early evening, depending on where you are in the world, have a wonderful evening. Have a relaxing evening. I will see you all bright and early tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for Mindset Mornings. Have a great day, everyone. Seeing you.